Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're watching this video, you either bought one of these, are thinking about buying one of these, or are otherwise stuck somewhere. This thing's on the shop floor or it hasn't even shown up yet. You're trying to figure out how you're going to move this around by yourself. This is a Grizzly G9729 lathe mill combo. This is a very specific video because this is a very specific lathe and not everybody's going to be picking these up on the way home from work. So I guess I get to have an exclusive video on YouTube because for the life of me, I cannot find any videos on how to lift one of these things. They advertise this as a benchtop lathe. I guess, yeah, it's 525 pounds. So yeah, it'll fit on a bench top if it's heavy duty enough. I built this one. A stand does exist, but they've stopped making them many years ago. This is a 20-plus-year-old design. My manual alone says 2005, but the birthday of my lathe is 2024, the 420, because of course it is. So anyway, let's get to how to lift one of these things. If you've downloaded the PDF or the manual, or you already have the manual in one form or another, you have these two holes in the base. It's designed for 3/4 inch stock. I used all thread. We'll get to that in a minute. You can probably already tell why. They give you a nice little picture of this thing being lifted with the center of gravity over here because your two straps meet pretty much right here. Well, so here on the planet Earth, that doesn't work. So what with physics and all. So I hesitantly tried their method first, more or less knowing better. Obviously, you got to move all the weight you can to this side. I had my engine crane straddling the pallet. I rigged everything up best I could. I found that with both of the straps meeting in the center, which was right about here, I could have this strap completely off. And as I lifted, this was still lifting up first. There's no way it's going to be level when you lift that. It doesn't work. So it's nice enough they gave you these holes specifically for lifting the thing, but you have to buy a leveler. Granted, I was able to get this off of the pallet it comes on using that method, but I was having to push down on the tailstock fairly hard to get the rear to just kind of lift a little bit. And the way I had my straps rigged up, I needed this to turn 90 degrees from the position it was in so it could straddle the A-frame of the engine crane. So you can see from this picture, that's basically what happened. I got it to lift up, rotate 90 degrees, and I just was able to wiggle and jiggle the piece of wood by kicking it with my foot and getting it to somewhat sit flush on this. And then I moved everything into position, hence the picture. But at that point I realized that's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to lift this thing up on this stand using the instructions. So let's back up a bit and go over a quick list of what you're going to need to get this thing in the air. First thing, 2 ratchet straps. This is rated for 1300. This is a 6400. This is already a predetermined length. You can use one of these, but I would make sure one of them is at least adjustable just for the sake of leveling the load. So your Harbor Freight run, you have to buy this. If you have 3 guys total and one guy's running the engine crane and the other 2 guys can muscle this thing around and get it into place as you lift it up, sure. If that's what you want to do, cool. But if you're by yourself or you just want to do it the right way, just pay attention, I guess. So you have to use a leveler. Harbor Freight sells these. I forgot what these are called, but you can just take a look at them and find them at Harbor Freight. I'll throw up what they're called, something link, I forget. If they don't have these, I'm pretty sure I bought these at Harbor Freight. They sell these at Home Depot and Lowe's. Get your ratchet straps. Now, getting down here and also an engine crane, if you have one. If you don't have one, I guess you're gonna have to buy one. But, so I chose all thread. I said I was gonna get back to that. I chose all thread specifically so I could space washers in place to keep the straps from binding against anything I didn't want it to bind against. I'll get to the positioning of everything here in a second, but you can use the 3/4 inch stock if you're worried about this stuff bending or whatever. It worked fine. I bought this specifically for this purpose and this purpose only. It did its job. This is a 3-foot stick. This is a 2-foot stick. You only need a 2-foot stick. My Home Depot only had one 2-foot in stock, so I grabbed a 3-footer. If you choose to use stock and you want to keep your straps from binding up against anything, just use vice grips on the stock, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So what do you have to do to prep this thing to lift? Obviously you want to take your cover off, which you'll be doing that routinely anyway as you're working on this thing. You take all the plastic off, of course. You want to move all your weight as far this way as you can. Depending on your strap angle, you'll have to move stuff around. You drop the mill down a little bit just to keep the tail end of it out of the way. Make sure your handle is north and south. That's what I did anyway, just to keep it out of the way of the straps. Make sure the head is locked, of course. It should be locked from shipping, but make sure it's locked. The biggest thing you can see right back here is you're going to need to remove the rear cover on the motor. It's very simple. It's 3 Phillips screws, 1 C-clip, and you pop the fan off. I just used a flathead screwdriver. The fan is made of plastic. I thought mine was really thin steel that had been painted, but it's not. I was actually surprised when I got it off. It was just plastic. You'll see all the rust, and you'll think, oh man, this thing is pressed on. It's never gonna come off. It pops right off. Like I said, I used a flathead screwdriver and spun it around a few different positions and walked it off. It took 30 seconds. And after that, then you'll have room for the shaft to go through. You can go ahead and position your straps as best you can. Keep everything away from any kind of adjustment knobs or whatever you got to do. It's pretty self-explanatory moving forward. Again, you can take note of where my level is. That's how far back it needed to be. Yet when you lift it, yes, you're going to be pushing against the bottom flange on the tray for the belt drive, but mine hasn't been. It's fine. I'm not worried about it at all. It effectively did nothing. So other than that, you just get it nice and level and be careful and raise the thing up. Keep in mind, I kind of lucked out. Doesn't really make too big of a difference one way or another. Obviously, when you change the center, when you match the center of gravity on your load using a load leveler, well, you're going to be shifting your weight. You're going to be shifting the physical position of this thing over quite a bit. So you really need to eyeball and make a decision of where you want the legs, because otherwise you're going to get stuck with it way over here or way over here. I had to physically kind of push and hold this down as I was lowering it to get it in position. But so we'll go ahead and watch me do it, and you can see how to lift one of these things. just have a cover on them. Well, guys, it's pretty much as simple as that. I'm used to doing everything by myself, so I thought I'd try to give you a hand. Hopefully that's of some use to you for other style lathes. You just have to use a little bit of ingenuity and common sense, and just be careful and be slow. Hopefully that this was somewhat helpful to you, whether you're watching this a week after I uploaded it or 10 years after I uploaded it, because I get to learn how to play with this thing and mess a lot of stuff up. So, but other than that, you guys go have fun, and I'll catch you on the next one.